K-Talk Radio 1640 AM. This is the show, Utah Home Sweet Home. I'm your host, Yoshi Shiraki. And today, we are discussing your why. And why are we discussing your why? Because we all have goals, dreams that we want to pursue. However, many of us don't. For whatever reason, we don't believe in ourselves that we can actually achieve them. You know, I have coached thousands of people across America on the topic of real estate. I'm a national public speaker on the topic of real estate, and I've met, as I said, thousands of people throughout my coaching time. And it's incredible to me how many people feel that they don't have the capability to succeed in their goals, right? You start to talk with them and they just don't believe in themselves. And so that's why we're talking about our why. It's so important. Our why is so important because our why is what makes us want to go out there and literally face fear and failure, right in the eyes, and be able to push forward even though fear and failure may beat us most of the time, right? So you've got to be willing to step up. Richard Paul Evans was a guest on our show, New York best-selling author. He shared a great message. Your dreams, your goals have to be bigger than your fears. If they're not, your fears are going to constantly win over, right? And so you have to be willing to go up to your fears, and maybe your fears, punch you right in the face, and your failures knock you right on the ground, but your goals are so much bigger that you're willing to get up. Because if your goals are not much bigger, then you're just going to turn around and walk the other direction instead of get back up and press forward. So that's why we're talking about our why today, because it literally is what's going to drive those people who don't feel they're capable, right? That don't feel they can achieve, that don't feel they can start their own business, although they want to. They've got this great idea for an invention. They've got this great idea for a business, yet they stay at their 9 to 5, work their butts off to make somebody else wealthy because they don't have the belief system in themselves that they could do it for them, right? And so that is why it's so important to understand what your why is, to find what the biggest why you have is. Like I said, a lot of, speaking to lots of people throughout my mentoring, coaching career, a lot of people's why is either their parents, paying off their parents' house or buying their parents a new home, or their kids. These whys are so grand, so big, that it makes them stay motivated and not inspired. We already talked about how inspiration is something that comes in and goes out very, very quickly. You're watching a movie, you're watching a video, that video inspires you, but the second that video is over and the next one plays, that inspiration's gone, right? Motivation is what's going to keep you doing massive action on a day-to-day basis. All right, so now I want to talk about creating a roadmap, because if you don't have a roadmap, you're going to take a lot of wrong turns in life and waste a lot of time, right? And we don't want to waste time. Who wants to waste time? So many people, when they jump into the entrepreneurial business, they're like, I'm going to figure this out. And then, I'll tell people, I think you should go find a mentor in your local market if you're going to do that, right? And hire, oh, no, I don't want to spend the money. That money I can put into my business. I'm just going to figure it out. Okay, wait till that money's gone because you figured it out wrong, and now you don't have the money or a mentor, right? One of the best investments you can make in your business is make the investment in yourself. Hire people who've already taken the path that you want to take. Hire mentors to help you, coach you where you want to go. So I'm going to give you an example of what I mean by a roadmap. Let's just say that we were in Toronto, Canada, okay? We're not even in the United States. We're not even in Utah. We're all the way up in Canada, and we're in Toronto. And I tell you, hey man, I got a goal for you. I want you to get in this car right here, and I want you to drive to a house, 1234 House Street in Panama City. And now you can't use Siri, you can't use Google Maps, you can't use Alexa, you can't use even a paper map. You can use nothing. You cannot use one tool as far as a map tool to get there. I just want you to get in your car, give me your phone, and figure out how to drive down there. I want you to figure out how to get to Panama City at a house on 1234 House Street with no tools whatsoever. Could you do it? Probably. You can eventually figure it out and do it. See, here's the thing. The Google Maps, I Google mapped this last night. It takes 84 hours, okay? 84 hours from Toronto, Canada, if you drove nonstop to Panama City. What does that mean? Well, if you drove an 8-hour day from 9 to 5 for 8 hours a day, it would take you 10 and a half days to get down there, right? So if you used Google Maps and used a tool to get you down there and you drove 8 hours a day, in 10 and a half days, you would drive from Toronto, Canada to Panama City, Panama, right? However, think about this. If you didn't have a map, and I literally gave you an old 1980 car that didn't have a GPS in it, and took your phone from you and said you can't use any maps whatsoever, could you figure it out? Yes, but you're probably not going to get there in 84 hours flat. It's going to take you a lot of wrong turns. Let me just share with you, by country and state, the path. We're not even talking city here, right? So if you were to get in your car and start at Toronto, Canada, the first state that you would enter when you entered the United States of America would be Michigan. Okay, I don't even know what city it is, but it's just the state of Michigan. Now from Michigan, you have to figure out how to get to the next state, which is Indiana. And that's if you head in the right direction. You might take a wrong turn and start heading east or west or southeast or southwest and not find yourself in Indiana. And then you got to do a U-turn and come back and figure that out. But from Michigan, the next state, again, not city, just state. So we're shortcutting this a lot, because if it was city to city that you had to figure out how to get there in the shortest amount of time to make it in 84 hours, that's going to be it's going to be a huge list. So we're just going state here. So from Michigan, you're going to go to Indiana. From Indiana, you will somehow end up in Missouri, okay, without a road map. From Missouri, you will then end up in Arkansas. Then from Arkansas, you will end up in Texas. Now here's where it's going to get really tricky if you don't speak Spanish, because from Texas, you will then enter the country of Mexico. Now, if you don't speak Spanish and you don't know how to drive around Mexico, there's a really good chance that you're not going to get from Mexico to the next country, and we're not even going state anymore, from Mexico to Guatemala in the shortest, efficient, most amount of time, right? You have 84 hours to get from Toronto, Canada to Panama City, only driving 8 hours a day. You're not allowed to drive anymore. It's probably going to be very challenging, those 8 hours that you're driving each day in the country of Mexico, especially if you don't speak Spanish and can ask, for directions to Guatemala. Because if you said to somebody in Mexico, hey, listen, I'm trying to get to Panama City, they're not gonna know how to get to Panama City either, because the next country after Guatemala is Honduras, okay? And then after Honduras, you better still be speaking Spanish. You're gonna be into Nicaragua. And then after Nicaragua, you're gonna be in the country of Costa Rica. And then after the country of Costa Rica, you will be in Panama. Now, once you're in Panama, you now gotta find Panama City. And then once you're in Panama City, you now have to find the address to the exact house that I want you to go to. You can see how difficult it is every time you stopped at a gas station. This is what we do in life. Every time you stop at a gas station on your way from Toronto, Canada to Panama City, you're going to ask for directions. You're going to stop and say, hey, listen, I'm trying to figure out how to get to Indiana. Do you have the best, do you have any idea on which freeway I should take to Indiana? Because again, remember, you're not allowed to use any tools. You're going to figure this out. So now the gas station attendant says, I think you just get on that freeway and head that way, and that should get you to Indiana. And then, of course, it's the wrong way, right? It's the wrong freaking way. And now we wasted 8 hours, 5 hours, however many hours that we have to turn around and drive back, right? That's what so many people do in their entrepreneurial career. They're going to figure things out. So what do? Who do they talk to? The people that's in their inner circle who have not achieved where they want to go either, right? Who've not achieved the same goal, I should say, of where you want to go. So what happens? You start asking your parents or your best friend or your uncle, hey, listen, I'm trying to start a restaurant. They've never started a restaurant, so they give you bad advice. They give you the wrong freeway to take from Michigan to Indiana, and now you've wasted all this time going down a road taking advice from somebody who's not reached the destination that you want to reach, right? We do that all the time in life. That's why it's so important to hire somebody who's been down this road. So if we knew somebody who, has driven from Canada to Panama City over and over and over again without a map, that's who you want in your car. You don't want to have to figure this out. How difficult would that be to drive through all of those states, all of those countries, hoping that every gas station attendant you talk to, every fast food restaurant attendee that you chat with, that you pull over to get food and ask them for directions to Missouri, then to Arkansas, Texas, then to Mexico. Now you don't even speak Spanish. Maybe you do, but if you don't, now you're asking the guy at the gas station in Mexico how to get to Guatemala, and you're doing it in English. I mean, think about how tricky that is. That's what I mean by you want to hire the right people to create the roadmap that you need to take in your entrepreneurial world. Don't go figure things out because you're going to waste a lot of time. And the reason I'm sharing that is because when you waste a lot of time, guess what happens? You give up on your dreams and your goals. And that is why I shared earlier that anyone can achieve their goals and greatness, just most of them don't pursue it long enough to see it happen because, one, it just wasn't that important to them, and two, all of those setbacks that they take along the way are bigger than their actual goal. Those setbacks frustrate you to the point where you end up just saying, forget it, I don't really need to do this challenge and driving from Toronto, Canada to Panama City. It's not that big of a deal. I'll just quit and go back to doing what I was doing because it's not that fun anyway, right? Because setbacks are not fun. And so that's why it's so important to come up with your why that's so big that when those setbacks happen, it doesn't even matter. You get back up and you keep moving forward. You get back in your car and you keep driving. Hopefully it's the right way, but eventually you get to your goal. That's why you want to hire a mentor so that those frustrations happen less frequently and so you can get to your goal much quicker. Okay, before we part ways, in case you have a dog or know someone else who does have a dog, I wanted to take a quick second to show you the Snap Leash. The Snap Leash can literally do so many things, and I'm going to share with you one of the many cool things that it can do. As you can see, the Snap Leash is designed with 2 swivel hooks, one on each end. This end has a cushion stitched into it to make it comfortable when walking your dog. Now, all you have to do is take this swivel hook, put it into this very first grommet, and now you've got your handle. Okay, so now let's imagine you're at the park and you want to secure your pet quickly, safely, and easily to a park bench, a tree, or a pole because you just want to sit down and relax. Well, all you need to do is take this swivel hook, remove it from the very first grommet, wrap this leash around any size tree or pole or park bench, and put it into the appropriate grommet, and now you have secured your pet quickly, safely, and easily. And when it's time to head home, another great feature about the Snap Leash is you can simply wrap it around your waist for hands-free walking. Lastly, if you ever accidentally forget your waist bags at home, these grommets make a great place to fasten the waist bags so you never leave home without them. And if you want to see all of the other cool things that the Snap Leash can do, then please just click on the link below and find out why so many others are falling in love with the Snap Leash.